Now, what I'd like to do is actually show you how to create a SMART goal based on a very general goal. It doesn't really have to be anything spectacular, but I'd first like to remind you of what SMART goal stands for. Okay, so you should be able to look on the screen and see everything that I want you to see. Now, the S in SMART stands for specific. Okay, your goals absolutely have to be specific. Next, they need to be measurable. Okay, the tricky thing about having a goal that's about creating the measurable aspect of a SMART goal is you create the measurable part after you develop the action. Okay, the A stands for actionable. The R stands for realistic. Does it make sense for us to make a goal that is not realistic? And finally, the T stands for time sensitive. So it relates to time. Now, let's move down a little bit. Oh, I misspelled sensitive. Let's keep. There we go. Okay, so let's start with a very general goal. Something like I want to read a lot this semester. Okay, that's our general goal. Okay, let's go ahead and center that. Okay, now if we are following the SMART process, then the first thing we have to do is make that more specific. So, specifically, uh, what does that mean? Okay, because you could actually read statuses on Facebook or people's tweets, but would that actually fulfill the goal that you're trying to accomplish? No, it would not. So, and I'm sorry for that adjustment, but so that it would not meet that goal. All right, so we have to be specific. So, if we are specific in that goal, then we could say, I want to read more literature. Okay, now we've been specific. We are saying what it is we want to read. Okay, the next part is the M, but as I told you, we're not going to put in the measurement because we don't know the action yet. And if we don't know the action, then we don't have anything, we don't know what it is we're measuring. Okay, so the next part of creating this goal is to create the actions by which we want to complete this specific goal. So, I want to read more literature, and we should actually put an ellipsis there. And so here, we're continuing that goal. So, I want to read more literature by, and what actions are we going to take to read more literature? Well, we might read more novels, okay? So by reading novels, magazines, and newspapers, okay? So now that we've created the actions, we said I want to read more literature by reading novels, magazines, and newspapers. Okay, so this is cool, but now we have to write down the measurement because I could read one novel, one magazine, and one newspaper, but have I completed my goal of reading a lot this semester? Probably not. So now we have to put in a measurement. Well, this measurement is based on whatever you've been doing previously. So, how many novels have you read previously? How many magazines or newspapers have you read previously? Maybe you've only read one or two of them um, per month. So then your measurement here, instead of being 1 to 2, you want to increase that goal. So your measurement would be 3 to 4. Okay. So I want to read more literature. The way that it would read is I want to read more literature by reading 3 to 4 novels, magazines, and newspapers. Okay, so now that we've completed this, we want to check the reality of it. Once we check the reality of it, or we see if it's realistic, we ask ourselves, are these actions that I can complete? If so, then that's good. We ask ourselves, is this a measurement that I can fulfill? Sure, I can read 3 to 4 novels, magazines, and newspapers. So all we simply do is input. We can put an X or a check mark. Typically, I tell you all to put a check mark there, but for the time being, since I can't put a check mark on here, we'll do an X. Now we put in the time sensitivity portion. Okay, so how often do we want to complete this goal? So, would you want to read more literature by reading novels, magazines, and newspapers? 3 to 4 times a day, 3 to 4 times a week, 3 to 4 times a month, 3 to 4 times a year. It just depends on the goal that you're trying to reach. It's got to be realistic though. So, for the average person, reading 3 to 4 novels, magazines, or newspapers in a day or a week might be a bit heavy, but we could say monthly. Okay? So, we've gone through the 5 steps of creating a SMART goal. Now, at the very end, once you've created that, you're going to write it out into one sentence and say, my goal is to read more literature by reading 3 to 4 novels, magazines, and or newspapers monthly. Okay, so this is the specific portion of it. Okay, and the actionable part of it, okay, is the reading. Okay, give me just a second there. Let me change that. So we said that we're going to read novels, magazines, or newspapers. This is, once again, that's the action. The measurement is that, because we can certainly measure that. Okay, and then the time sensitivity portion of it is at the end. Okay, so if you cannot complete all of those, if you can't find the S, the M, the A, and the T within your goal, then it's not a SMART goal. And remember, for the R, we're just checking it to make sure that it's realistic. I hope this helps. If you have any more questions, just let me know.